Welcome, everyone, to the Puck Drops here. This is Peter 5 Foot. It's going to be a short stream, guys. Well, kind of short. This is, again, the radio show. The Puck Drops here, 9.3 Wmsc over Montclair. Of course, you guys know about that. My Dekes and Dangles show. Again, any comments you guys have about the show, and strictly about the show, we're not getting into any other crap. You just type here and talk about it, and just enjoy the show. We're gonna start recording in about 8 minutes. All right. So what, bro? So you can unmute.
Yeah.
If he wants you to talk about the Sabres as head coach, we're doing that in the Nashville-Detroit thing. So, all right. I haven't heard this thing. I haven't heard Kyle's newscast, but it's fine. You'll hear it for the first time.
Okay.
Also, did you watch that video I wanted you to watch with the Flyers thing?
I'll do that real quick.
Please watch that now.
Yeah. Let me do that right now.
What? Remember what I said at Snapchat? It's at
157. Yeah, I got you.
57.
Thank you.
Tommy Bavaro. Tommy, you should play Pokemon Go. Oh, no. I forgot I was live.
Oh.
You're not here, but I'm live on my live stream. Hi, Lamario.
Yeah.
What's up, bro? Just this is just a live stream of my recording, so I won't be really commenting on you guys. But just if you have any NHL stuff you want to talk about, you just post that here, and we'll try to go through it. Also, we're going to talk about the Avalanche Avs fans, so get ready for that. I forgot the other Avalanche fan. Did you watch that Colorado game yesterday, Tommy?
Hold on, I'm watching the thing right now. Give me 1 second. Are you talking about the fight that happened? Ooh.
Well, it's something he did. Are you seeing what he did? 157.
Which player? I'm trying to go back.
Morin, 55 in orange and white.
Okay, 55. Yeah, give me 1 second. Oh, he punched. What's his name? Who's number 12?
What?
What's his name? Gauthier?
Gauthier.
Oh, Gauthier.
Yeah, he punched his head right in the ice. They suspended him for, I think, a game. So we're going to talk about that. What about the New York Rangers? We'll be talking about the Rangers. We're going to be talking about a suspension. Hi, Go Caps. Go Caps, you didn't show up yesterday. I was very disappointed with the Devils losing again. Go Caps, I will not be streaming tonight, even though the Devils are playing the Capitals, because I have to go home, and it's annoying to go home, and homework and class and that stuff. Tommy has to go work at the pizza place and not stay for tomorrow's stream. That's for the tomorrow Red Wings stream. Tommy, look, it's the oh, nope. I was going to do it, but I completely forgot. I'm on YouTube. I get banned. I get thrown off if I do that. Remember?
Wow.
Remember copyright?
Be careful.
Remember copyright?
Copyright sucks. Tim Peel fired. Now I know why.
Yeah, I know. I am. That's what I do. That's the point of it being
we
live,
talk
bro.
about what's his name. How are the Islanders not? The Islanders are too good against Boston this year. What happened?
I don't know. Boston hasn't been that great. How about the fact that the Rangers are what?
They're tied for 5th with Philly.
Yeah, and they're 3 points away from a playoff spot.
That's good.
Very good. What are we whispering about, bro?
Oh, no, I'm just reading something.
On Instagram. Are you reading on Instagram?
Taylor, what's Colorado's surge again? I'm sorry.
Because they've been winning a bunch of games. They've been winning a lot of games.
Okay.
They're in a win streak. They're Avs fan, correct me if I'm wrong. 1 point behind Vegas in the playoffs. You can just type it. I'll check anyway, but I think they're 1 point behind them. Yeah, no, they're tied with them. Tied. Ooh, the Colorado is tied with Vegas for points, 45-45. Colorado has the most points. Colorado, along with Vegas, has the most points in the Western Conference, and I believe are 4th in the league behind the Capitals. Both those teams behind the Capitals, the Capitals, the Hurricanes, the Islanders, and the Lightning. Yeah, Avs have been very good. So we'll be talking about that. That's going to be fun.
Okay.
Tommy?
Yeah.
Tommy, I'm going to go to Sam's after this.
You are going to my pizza place, which it cannot be said.
Yeah, but you can't. Why can't it be said?
I mean,
you don't want it being said on YouTube? That's free publicity. Except everybody here is in Denver or New York.
Oh, excuse me.
I assume New York. I'm not sure where it was.
What's that?
Hi, Nathan. Oh, God. Oh.
Peter, do you want me to get to start?
I don't. Right now, Tommy. No. Right now, Tommy.
I'm
no.
I'm going to get to start.
No, I'm not. I am right now thinking of stuff that you don't know about. Oh,
are you all right, man?
I know. That's from last night. Wait, Nathan. This is not for you, Tommy. Nathan, this is the smile I was talking about. It's so creepy, bro. But hey, guys, the whole gang's back together, and we got a radio show. If you guys have any comments what you want us to talk about. Also, I'm not going on Hockey Talk while I do this. Not at all. Hockey Talk was the voice chat, remember? Remember the voice chat we were on when you were playing COD? You didn't have headphones on?
Oh, yeah, that.
I'm in Baltimore. Ah, Baltimore. They need hockey. Baltimore Ravens? Where's Josh? Okay, Tom. I think we should talk about Selke trophies too, but I don't think we'll do that today. We'll do that another time.
No, I don't think we'll need to.
You know what Selke trophy is, right?
We can also talk. What's his name? Possibly returning, starting for the Rangers again soon. Vitaly Kravtsov.
Vitaly Kravtsov. Was he a rookie?
Technically, yeah, he did play. I think a couple seasons ago, like only a few games, but then he got sent to the minors because he wasn't ready yet.
There's a Canucks player also named Vitaly. I forget. He got drafted. I don't think he'll be playing. Leafs went from being way ahead of everyone in first, and now they're seventh in the league all time. Yeah.
Wow.
Right now, can I go before? Oh my God! Don't start this again, bro. Can I go before right now for a few minutes? We're gonna start at 2. So if you got to get the catcher's gear, because Nathan's getting catcher's gear because he's a catcher for baseball. Tommy's don't play sports. Tommy did band in high school 1 year.
I did do swimming.
And then he didn't do anything. Oh, that's true. He did swimming.
Varsity.
I'm trying to downsell you as I'm trying to low sell you as unathletic, and I forgot you actually did stuff. Tommy, you gonna watch? Did your pizza place have hockey on? Like, are they gonna watch the Devils Caps game today?
Probably not. My managers will like to.
Well, not for you guys, but like for the restaurant. Like,
usually they put on like soccer or.
I know why they put on. I know why they put on soccer. Why do they put on soccer, Tommy?
Everyone, because they're all
half of your workers are Italian or Spanish. Yes.
But they do hockey once in a while when it's on.
Whoa! What did we talk about that? We're not starting this again. Oh, God. I'm not timing you out. We're not starting this again, bro. It is way too early to start this. That was, what did we say? That was something that we said was not that was confidential. Go on, bro. Are we going now?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
We're just having the TV. Hold on a second. Still having TV today. Jesus Christ.
Okay, let me get my.
Whatever. NHL's having an issue right now, but I don't care.
All right, I have it.
It was said in confidence. Okay.
All right, let me just quickly put everything on. Oh, except for that.
I might put in ideas while you were doing it. Good. All right, are we ready?
Yep.
First of all, you're going to hear someone who we don't know first, because it's going to be this kid that did a newscast. I told you guys.
Introduce him.
I told you guys about it earlier on that one when Nathan made the comment about. He said, "Say a poopy word, please." I could say some now, but I can't say it on stream because then I get kicked out of the FCC. Because the FCC won't let me be. Copyright. But I don't really think Eminem cares. So.
Peter, you get to introduce him. That's all right. I'll get to start for today.
I don't even know this kid. What's his name? Joey Franchini? Joey Franchini from The Godfather.
Are you ready? I am.
You come to me in the day of your... that's a horrible Italian.
Are you ready or not?
You don't watch The Sopranos, so you don't get it.
Oh, The Sopranos. I did actually watch it back in the spring semester in TV class.
You did watch it? Do you know the part where he's at the desk? when he goes, "Look up to me at the day of my daughter's wedding." Oh.
I don't recall.
You got him. All right,
whenever you're ready.
An offer you can't refuse. Okay, we're done with mafioso shit. Hey, put me word. Make the creepy smile. No, I'm not going to do that. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Hold on. This kid's name is Kyle Forcini. What's his name? Kyle Forcini. I was right. Forcini.
Okay. All right. 10. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to get to start again. All right. 10.
Wait,
9.
hold on. Time out 1 second. I sound like Funkhauser. Oh, somebody's been watching. Somebody's been watching that show with Larry David. Okay, go ahead.
All right, for real, guys. Hold on with your chat. All right, in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dekes and Dangles. It is officially the top of the hour here at 90.3 Wmsc, Upper Montclair, New Jersey. I am your co-host for today, Tommy Barbaro. Joined alongside me is our primary host, Peter Fivefoot. Peter, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, Tommy. How are you here? Of course, 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. We've got so much hockey to talk about. A lot of things have been controversial in the front office with referees and stuff like that. We would talk about that. We've got some other things to talk about the National Hockey League and their teams and the trade deadline and some teams doing well, some teams not doing well, records that could be broken, and a lot of other different things as well as the draft lottery. But before we get into any of that, let's do something very interesting today. We have one of our own on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, Kyle Forcini. He's trying to become a DJ, and he was able to thankfully put a newscast out for us, which we are so grateful for, absolutely, to be affiliated with the show. I mean, he could not be here today, but he did send out the newscast. So, Tommy, if you want to play that.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you again to Kyle Forcini.
This is Kyle Forcini at WMSC Upper Montclair, giving you a daily newscast. Off of Associated Press, in his first press conference since taking office, President Biden talked about bringing fundamental changes to the United States Senate. Biden referenced immigration and voting rights as key components. He acknowledged that a slim Senate majority might not be enough. New York Giants signed guard Zach Fulton to a one-year deal Thursday, according to NJ.com. Coming off of a rocky season with Houston where he allowed 11 sacks, 29-year-old looks to compete for the starting job at right guard. The move adds another layer to the Giants' free agent spending spree. And finally, Montclair State announced yesterday that it will be going back to in-person classes starting from the fall of 2021. After a turbulent year and a half, students will now have access to in-person classes full time. The university stated they wanted to give students a new normal. This story came from Patch.com. Today's weather has some rain and potential thunderstorms in the area, with a high of 77 degrees and a low of 46 degrees. I'm Kyle Forcini, and thanks for tuning in to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
Kyle, thank you for that ATJ.
Thank you, Kyle. Of course, Tommy. And now I don't want to go to school next semester because I don't want to go to in-person classes.
In-person classes are back, baby.
No one wants that. No one wants that, bro. No one wants that. But let's move on, of course.
All good things come to an end.
Yeah,
but let's move on.
He called that good things. But let's move on, of course. And let's talk about the NHL. First thing, obviously, again, we've got to start with some very, very awful news. Tell us about it, Tommy.
Yes. So Bob Plager, who was so for those of you who don't know, Bob Plager, who was a longtime member for the St. Louis Blues organization in the Hall of Fame and also former Ranger player, died this past week at the age of 78 in a car crash and a cardiac event. Apparently, I'm just reading the news right now that it actually was a cardiac arrest prior to the accident. So it was around Interstate 64. He was on his way to the St. Louis Blues facility, and the accident happened, and unfortunately, he did not make it. Bob Plager was 78 years old.
Oh, man, horrible. That is awful.
It really is. And he had his number 5 retired years ago, and he's just been a close – he was actually one of the first members on the Blues organization as a player, and after he retired, he's been closely with the organization ever since.
He gets to cup all of that when he's meant to the St. Louis Blues, the St. Louis City. Just awful for a man like that too, or anyone, but still for a man like that to pass away, awful. We send our condolences, of course, to the Plager family. Now, moving on to the NHL, and now to something that we are going to really jump down our throats on, and that is an issue with Tim Peel. So here's what happened. Tim Peel is one of the officials, one of the long-standing officials in the National Hockey League. He's worked for over 20 seasons, and this was regardless of what would happen his last season in the National Hockey League. Well, earlier this week, he was officiating a Nashville Predators Detroit Red Wings game, and at the end of the first period, early in the first period, Nick Glendening got called, drew a penalty with a Victor Arvidsson trip to the side of the net. And Tim Peel made the call, which seemed to be a good call at the time. But I personally didn't hear it because I was actually watching the game on Fox Sports Detroit. But on Fox Sports Southwest, for the Nashville feed, he said, Fox Sports Tennessee, excuse me, he said, quote,
I could speak on it.
Quote, it was what Peel said, quote, Arvidsson was committed a penalty. It was light. It wasn't much, but I wanted to get an expletive penalty against Nashville early. A lot of repercussions happened. He was fired, not completely fired. Still will be paid till the end of the year, but he will not work a hockey game again. He's retiring anyway, and he's not going to work one this season because of that. And that sets up the whole argument of, quote unquote, setting up games. And so what that essentially means is there's been a whole process since hockey's been created of officials that will set up a game makeup calls where if they missed a call and there's a play that's close to a penalty, they will call the penalty to even out the game. A lot of fans and organizational members hate it, but there are a great amount of players and fans and organizational members that are okay with it. But for the referee to immediately be fired draws some sort of criticism from the league and, of course, from us. Tommy, your take on Tim Peel and what the league immediately did.
Well, first off, not only did he say on the mic that I wanted to call penalty, he actually cursed in it.
That's okay, Tommy. See, that's okay. Guys curse all the time. The only thing I'll say to that is it sounds worse because he swore. But continue.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. But going forward into that, you really got to be careful. You really got to use your words, especially when it comes to making that call. Because what's worse, you don't even know if it's being played or not. Like, there have been incidents in the past where, I won't mention any specific titles or names, but broadcasters who say inappropriate things don't realize their mics are on. And I've seen that happen before, and they've been suspended or fired in the past. And unfortunately for Tim Peel, not realizing that the mic was on while making his call on how he wanted to call penalty on Nashville, and that's a sign of saying that got him to being fired. And I think this was the right move to make, and hopefully we don't get to see that or hear that kind of nonsense ever again. The main lesson is for anybody, you have to be careful when it comes to saying something when it comes to speaking in the mic, if you know what I mean.
I agree with that point, but pretty much everything else you said, I blatantly disagree with. And in my opinion, because first of all, let's look at it. If you look at the play, obviously you could just hear us. You can't see the play, obviously. But Victor Arvidsson, he went down to the puck and he tripped Glendening's leg. Glendening went down. They set a power play, and the Red Wings didn't even score in that power play. The Red Wings didn't score in the entire game. It was a 2-0 shutout for Nashville. Regardless, still, the Predators obviously were angry about this, but I don't even think it was setting up a game. He said, and every quote that I've seen, they leave out the part about Arvidsson making a penalty. It was a penalty. He called a penalty, and I don't even think it was making up a game rather than all he was saying was it was a light penalty. Again, just my opinion, but it was a light penalty. It wasn't a penalty it's usually called, but it was a light penalty. I felt that they should have gotten a penalty, not because I hate the Predators, the Nashville Predators, but because I wanted to give one out to kind of balance the game out. So I guess that is balancing the game out, but I mean, they didn't call a penalty on Detroit earlier, and they called the penalty on Detroit later in the game, and Nashville scored on the power play. So if anyone would be upset, maybe the Red Wings, because personally, I think this whole thing is absolutely bogus. I think he should not have been fired. I think maybe suspended for 2 games, maybe. I don't think – and he was only going to – like next month, he's going to have 1 game on April 14th. The trade deadline was going to be his last game anyway in the NHL because he's retiring after this year. I don't get it. Yes, the cursing makes it worse, but still, like, I get where people are coming from. You want a pure game called, but the NHL doesn't work like that. Tim Peel should not have been fired. If anything, he should have been suspended. If anything, and I don't even think that. So that is definitely an issue. And there are players, hockey players in the league with this type of stuff that have said that number one, they like Tim Peel and think he's a great ref. And number 2, they have no issue, no qualms with with the way he calls games and the makeup calls.
Exactly.
Matt Duchene and Philip Forsberg, teammates of Victor Arvidsson, said that they were very happy with what the league did, and they didn't like the makeup calls. Of course, they're going to say that they're the teammates in Nashville. A player who's not playing in that game, but has played over the league. He's played over a whole decade in the National Hockey League. In Arizona Coyotes defenseman, former Sharks defenseman as well, Jason Demers, who later played in that game, but the puck didn't drop for their game yet. So he could have still been asked. They were in the locker room and making their way to the stadium while this happened because Arizona wouldn't play until later that night against the Colorado Avalanche. And Jason Demers said, personally, I like Tim Peel, and I think he is. I like Tim Peel, and I think he's a good ref, and I like the call. So that was that, and I agree with Demers. You don't, but I.
Okay, and like I said, this is only our opinions. None with
I just don't. I still think though it's way more of a ruckus than it needs to be. The whole league was just being ripped apart, and this has to change, and this is what would happen. And I saw people also on the station that said that it was egregious and absolutely inappropriate and disgusting. And I was like, he made a mistake, and he was just trying to. Like, he wasn't trying to.
Yeah, we get it. I mean,
trying to cross up Nashville. Wasn't like he was like illegally betting on Detroit or something. And if
honestly,
Detroit's hard.
I was gonna say maybe it could have been an honest mistake. Honestly, he could have just said something like that, and maybe he would have been at least. I
mean, maybe he could have apologized, but the league didn't even give him a chance. The league just canned him immediately.
I know.
And for some of the things that have happened in the league's history, that they've kind of said, okay, we're going to wait a little bit. We're not going to fire. We're not going to do an immediate response. This?
Oh, no.
Very, very suspect. Very
Not
suspect.
Like that.
And again, the league makes us shake our heads going, you guys are a bit too inconsistent in how you have league policy, what league policy does, and how they enact everything. Okay. Now to NHL news.
So
on NHL news, I will bring out the NHL news coming up. Morin, who was defenseman for the Philadelphia Flyers, was fined for his actions last night when recording. He was fined $3,000 for what he did against the New York Rangers for Brendan Lemieux. It was not Gauthier, it was Lemieux, Samuel Morin. And what happened was the Flyers were losing 8-3 at the time. That was the final score anyway. And Lemieux was battling for a puck, and it just became a scuffle. Everybody was trying to grab each other in the piles, trying to fight, whatever. And Morin grabbed Lemieux, and the 2 French Canadians went at it, and he just threw about. Well, Lemieux, not exactly French Canadian, his dad is. But anyway, he threw about 3 punches at Lemieux's face and then just grabbed Lemieux's, like, kind of his back collar and threw him on the ice and started wailing with punches until another Ranger player grabbed him as well as an official. And I do not think this was the right call. In fact, I actually hate this call because Number one, the money isn't even going directly to Lemieux. It's going to go to the Players Emergency Assistance Fund. And number two, he doesn't get suspended. Really? I usually kind of say, oh, you know what? I'm okay with more lenient penalties. No, this should have been harsher. There should have been at least 3 games. He just pummels him in the head. Why are you not, again, immediately fire the ref, a guy that's worked in the league for so long, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
but we're not going to go ahead and just can Moran for 3 games. We're going to fine him, not suspend him, and the player that got injured doesn't even get the money.
That's messed up.
The assistance fund will help Lemieux, but it's also going to help other injured players. It doesn't go directly to him. So it goes right to it doesn't go to his agent, doesn't go to him, doesn't go to medical expenses, doesn't go to the Rangers. It goes right to the Players Assistance Fund, and Moran gets to play the next game for the Philadelphia Flyers. So, again, the league is incredibly inconsistent with how they manage players.
Okay, so I just want to say some comments on that real quick. So he was fined a total of $317.24 for, as we're recording from yesterday, for the unsportsmanlike conduct on Brendan Lemieux. But should he have been suspended? Absolutely. I think he should have been suspended, because if you're going to start off with some very harsh unsportsmanlike plays like that, you need to be suspended for at least 2 games, and I think that's the punishment he should have
I'd say a 3-game suspension.
Or 3 games, yes.
3-game suspension for Moran, especially because also, I hate to do this, Flyers fans, but look at the team. Look at the team, guys, right? It's the Flyers. The Broad Street Bullies. This is, this happened in 2013. They played the Capitals, and the Capitals were clobbering them 6-1, and then what happened? You had the Ray Emery, rest in peace, the fight with him and Braden Holtby, and everybody was driving hands. When they get devastated on the scoreboard, they turn to fisticuffs, which isn't always a bad thing. But when it goes illegal, don't just fine. Come on. Because now Moran can play the next game. He just spent $3,000 off his paycheck. The agent will send that over. He's fine with that. I don't think Lemieux's very happy. I would be incensed if I were the New York Rangers. I don't like.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think he's happy either.
No, Brendan Lemieux. No way is he happy. He's
absolutely angry. Absolutely. Can't blame him. When he's angry,
you can't.
Very angry. Hockey players, they're going to be angry all the time, especially when they get into fights.
He's getting angry. Well, not because he got in a fight, Tommy, but because his head got smashed into the ice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In a game that was basically over, because let's face it, the Rangers were down by 5. The Rangers were up by 5 at this point, and they had already scored 8 goals. And the Flyers' offense had an incredible ineptitude at this point of the game. All they were going to do was just fisticuffs the whole time. So this was a really this was a bad call by the league. Just our opinion, it's not the radio stations, but still, that was a bad call by the league.
Exactly.
Okay,
right, move on.
Moving on, we have not really going to talk too much about it, but it is a kind of fun thing. The NHL Gaming Championship registration is open for people around the world that are like those top NHL video gamers. I love to play Chell, but I'd never be able to do that. That's pretty crazy. But okay, so Buffalo, and this will actually tie up into one of our other points. The Buffalo Sabres coach, Tony Granato, who is the interim coach, he is out, former New York Ranger as well. He is out due to COVID protocol. So now they'll be looking probably to, bring up the AHL coach. And now you have to start thinking, who is going to be the next coach of this franchise when the season ends?
Exactly. Some thoughts.
I will bring up the coaches that are the top 10 coaches that have been listed. Gerard Gallant, his success in Florida and Las Vegas. Bruce Boudreau, his success in Washington and Minnesota, and not a great playoff
coach, but
not a great playoff coach, but yeah. Got Rickard Gronborg, who is the top coach in the Swiss Elite Hockey League and the coach of the Swedish national team, one of the best Swedish coaches in hockey history. Todd Nelson, one of the best minor league coaches in hockey history, with all of his records at the UHL and the AHL, as well as being an assistant last year with the Western Conference champion Stars. You have John Stevens, who won the AHL Cup last year with Charlotte. You have Mike Babcock, of course. You know what he's the only player, one of two coaches on this top 10 list that have won a Stanley Cup. Mike Vellucci, the former Sabres coach, the only other coach on this list that also won a Stanley Cup. Dave Bausma, Mike Yeo, who used to coach the St. Louis Blues, and Dave Haxtell, who also used to coach the Flyers. To me, this is probably between Boudreau and Gallant.
Gallant?
It would have to be between Gallant or Bruce Boudreau.
Okay. I can understand Boudreau, but going back to Gallant, why do you believe he'll be a good choice for Buffalo? Same thing with Boudreau. But
with Boudreau, because Gallant's Gallant has done well with young teams. He was experienced in the NHL level. He's brought his team to a Stanley Cup final before. Whenever there are underachieving teams, he finds a way to have the best team-oriented depth and to win with teams that aren't supposed to win. He took Florida deep into the playoffs. Well, not deep into the playoffs. They had a great regular season record, and he got them into the postseason. He took an expansion team to the Stanley Cup final and did really well last year before he was fired. So that is something to note. I would personally think, though, that Boudreau would be the guy that Buffalo goes with. What are your thoughts?
Some thoughts came to me. I'm going with some coaches like between Mike Babcock and who else? Claude Julien, the Canadiens coach that was recently
Julien
fired.
Not on that list, but he could be a guy that I think he could be a dark horse candidate for coach of Buffalo.
I think so too.
And
I'm going to agree with you right there.
Yeah, while we go there from Buffalo, let's talk about another record that could be set in Buffalo, and it's not good for the Sabres, but they have lost 16 straight National Hockey League games going into Saturday, which you already know the score of it before we do. But Buffalo and Boston, they have lost 16 straight games. They play the Boston Bruins, then they play the Flyers on Monday. On Wednesday, if they lose to Boston and to Philadelphia, on national television on Wednesday night, the Flyers in Buffalo could create a record for the Sabres that has never been reached. Most consecutive losses is held by Pittsburgh with 18. That was in the 03-04 season, Marc-Andre Fleury's rookie year. And the real dark age for the Penguins. But the Sabres, after getting swept by the Penguins of the last few games, they are at 16 straight losses with only 16 points. Get this. The closest two teams to them in the standings, which I believe is Detroit and Anaheim. Yeah, the Anaheim Ducks and the Detroit Red Wings. They're the closest teams in points to them to the standings, like as being bad, are 8 points ahead of Buffalo.
Exactly.
That's how bad the Sabres are.
It really is bad. It's just so sad, when you have to – a team that's been here for a very long time, since 1970,
right,
nearly 50 years, they just haven't been able to get over the hump, and especially because of these circumstances. 16 straight losses is what I call a disgrace. And obviously, remember a couple weeks ago how we had our opinions with Ralph Kruger not being the issue?
Yeah.
You were right. It's honestly like he never left. Like
it's the organization.
It is the organization.
Ownership and organization. I kept thinking a few weeks ago, organization. So they got to hire a new general manager. They got to do this. They got to do that. After the last few losses to Pittsburgh, it's changed from organizational management with general managers and culture and presidents to the fact that it's pretty much the ownership's fault.
Yeah, the Pagulas. It's like,
I'm sorry, it just is. Again, just our opinion, but still. This is a problem that has to be delved through at the top level. And, it's Buffalo. Well, it was done with the Bills. It can be done with the Sabres if it's approached properly. Let the hockey guys do their job. That's the big thing.
Exactly. And going back to what you said, remember how last episode, how we compared to Pagulos to James Dolan? You were right.
Yeah.
They're exactly like that. It's like...
Not exactly like that. They're different people. And I don't think the Pagulos want ill will on the Sabres, but they're not understanding what to do. That the best option is to hire you guys, and it's still your team. Like, we won't get credit if we win a cup. You will get credit. You'll get a lot of credit if you win a cup, but you're also going to get negative credit if you deny this team from the playoffs, the team hasn't made the playoffs since 2011.
2010, I think.
2010 to 11 season.
Yes, a decade. And the Sabres, they are now 6-22-4 as their regular season record today.
I think they can hit that 18-loss mark. I think
they're
going to end up hitting.
Do I believe they'll win again at some point? I think they will, but the question is when? When will they win another game?
Don't know. Will it be against Boston or those two next games against the Flyers, teams that Buffalo has notoriously been very, very bad against?
I have a very funny feeling that the Sabres could be maybe the following teams to get over that hump.
I do not think the Sabres – here's the thing. I think the Sabres have a good chance to beat Boston. I just feel it. But I think if the Sabres lose to Boston, the Buffalo will have the record. I don't think they're beating the Flyers either game. And I know the Flyers have struggled, but the Flyers in their history have been notoriously, as the Bruins have, very good this year against Buffalo. Also, the Flyers have played multiple games against the Sabres, a lot of games, and the Bruins have only played one. This is their second game, and the Bruins are home, right, Tommy?
Yeah, the Bruins are going to be home.
This is their first game in TD Garden in this regular season against Buffalo.
The
Bruins have not had a lot of experience this regular season against Buffalo, where Philadelphia has had a lot. I think the Flyers have played 5 or 6 games against the Sabres this year. So that's something to know. Moving on.
Teams that I believe that Buffalo could win, either the Bruins, Flyers, or the Rangers.
Well,
that's a feeling.
But the thing is, Tommy, if they lose to the Bruins and then the Flyers 2 games, when they meet the Rangers, they would have already broken the record.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
so it wouldn't have mattered. It would just be, could they stop the record at 19? All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. We have some something to talk about with the NHL lottery, interestingly enough. And we're kind of running not low, but we're getting down there. So we're going to try to really rapid get through some of these. But the NHL announcing changes to draft lottery format, and I think they're great changes. So the first thing that they'll do for the 2021 NHL draft is now that the two things they're doing for the 2021 draft is that the lottery is only going to be used to determine the first 2 picks of the draft and not the 3 picks. So the third pick will just be who's the third worst regular team or whatever it was, unless that drops down to 2 or 3. And the other thing is that I think is even better is that the worst team in the league can pick no lower than 3rd. So if you remember, Detroit ended up picking 4th last year, even though they have the worst record in the league. Same thing with the Avalanche, although they got Cal McCarr, and they're very happy about that. We'll see how Detroit's pick ends up manifesting. But I think that's great for the league. And in 2022, what they're going to do is, and I don't know why not 2021, but they're doing it for 2022, only 11 teams are going to be eligible to win the draft lottery, not 16 as usually is the case with the NHL, which means a team like Carolina in 2018, which had the second best record of teams missing the playoffs and the best record in the East, or only one behind St. Louis, ended up getting the second overall selection, even though they were a very good team that year and got Svechnikov, who's blossomed into a star. So that was a big issue. Now that can't happen. So the bad teams will be able to be bad. And if you're a team that's on the verge and think you can just get that great pick and do even better, like the Rangers did last year, can't happen.
No,
it can't happen. They're not going to give you that cheap pass. I think the league did a great job. No, I think the league did a great job. Tommy, I'm
sorry.
I think the National Hockey League did a great job with this.
No doubt. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just going to reread the rules again in case anybody need a better understanding. So the 21 NHL Draft Lottery will be from 3 drawings to 2 as part of changes. For the changes, so teams will be restricted.
We kind of just went over it, so but yeah.
Okay, yeah, just a recap, but okay, you get it. And the NHL Draft will be scheduled for July 23rd to 24th.
It should be. We think that we're not sure when the lottery will be. Bill Daly said soon, but we're not sure when the lottery will be. But that is good. Okay, so let's move on. Some injuries happening. We'll do quickly. Tuukka Rask has been injured for the Boston Bruins.
Oh, boy.
That is a huge injury for them.
Well,
so they'll be starting rookie. I don't know if they'll be starting Halak or the rookie Vladar. Vladar has been good.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see.
I think he should have started
We'll see where they'll go on Saturday against Buffalo.
Yes, and I was just saying, actually a little bit of good news for Boston fans. Rask will be out for at least 2 games. So
only 2
games. With with an upper body injury, out for 2 games.
After playing Buffalo, the Penguins lose one of their depth scorers, and Kasperi Kapanen. So he goes.
That's bad.
It's not okay. It's bad to have any injuries, but Kapanen, they're such a deep team offensively. I think we're going to see a lot more of Zucker now. Rodriguez has been there. They're going to have to shift lines. Mike Sullivan will have to. That team is 3rd in the division, in the East Division. They are 2 points behind Washington for the 2nd spot and 4 points behind the Islanders for 1st in the division and 2nd in the East. Because the Islanders are 2nd in the East and 2nd in the league. But the Penguins, they're there. They'll have some important games coming up. Their next game that they will be playing is at home against the Islanders. So how fitting that is. A regulation win for the Penguins would be really, really vital for their chances to move up in the division, possibly to win the division, because 4 points away, and then they would only be 2 points away if they were to win in regulation against New York, regardless of what happens with the Caps.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Moving on. So those are those injuries. And let's go, before we're going to talk about trade deadline stuff, as we constantly do every week, which is amazing. It's happening soon. We talked about Buffalo low in the standings, losing all these games. Let's talk about the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, yeah.
The surge Colorado has had. Colorado, who was hanging on for dear life about a week and a half ago, in the 4th seed in the division. They marched up to the 3rd division spot, and they played a bunch of good games against the Minnesota Wild, having incredible second periods, scoring a ton of goals. And Vegas, who has been red hot, they ended up meeting Thursday, and they just beat them 5-1 in Denver. Now the Colorado Avalanche are tied with the Vegas Golden Knights for the best record in the Western Conference and for 5th in the National Hockey League. And they're going to play again. And Colorado, if they win, regardless of who gets a point, Colorado would then have the best record in the Western Conference. Well, depending on what Toronto does, but still probably have the best record would have the best record in the Western Conference and the best record in the division. So the surge that Colorado has had, incredible. What do you think, Tommy, about the Avalanche, and what do you think has been the difference for them in this past week?
I think what's been going on with Colorado this past week has to be their depth. And like you said, they are surging. And I'm just quickly looking up their record. So right now, the Colorado Avalanche currently are standing. Just give me one sec here. But like you said, they're going in a great direction, especially since last year's postseason. They're right now. There we go. They're 6th place overall.
What do you think's driving them? What do you think has been the reason for them to be so good?
I think probably, for my guess, I'm going with defensive moves. And between the defense, offensive, goaltenders, pretty much everyone has been dominating.
It's true. I think the defense has been better. They're letting in less goals, and their goaltending has been much better as well. But I think what's also been the case is what have we been waiting on all year? We've been waiting for the Rocky Mountain Express line to take foot. The line of Mikko Rantanen, Gabriel Landeskog, and Nathan MacKinnon. And boy, have they been good. McKinnon scored almost every game. Rantanen has 3 points almost every game. And Landeskog goes in front of the net and scores these goals. Kel McCarr's, his scoring has gone up. They still don't have a few defensive. But you know what also is another thing? They're getting healthy.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They are getting healthy. And you look at some of the teams around them that have been fatigued. St. Louis has been absolutely mired. They're 4th in the division, have been mired with injury. Colorado's guys are getting healthy, and they're one of the most experienced teams in the division, and they have soundly beaten the Vegas Golden Knights, which is the only other team that is healthy enough and experienced enough to battle with them. The only other experienced team that would be able to would be St. Louis, but even St. Louis is not there. And Minnesota is incredibly healthy, but Minnesota is not. And they just got Matt Dumba back, but the Wild are nowhere as experienced as Colorado is. I picked them to win the Stanley Cup in the preseason, the Colorado Avalanche, and after they started a little rocky, kind of reminded me how Tampa started, right? Tampa started with a bunch of games where they were losing games they shouldn't have, and you thought, oh, maybe they're not going to have a chance for the playoffs. And then in the middle of the year, they went on a roll. They had one of the best records in the league. They did not have the best record in the league, but they had one of the best records in the league. They went through the playoffs. They had a competitive series, and they were able to find their depth and end up winning the cup. And Colorado has been kind of that way. And both the two teams that I picked to go to the final, Colorado and the Islanders, have been very good. And the Colorado Avalanche, they're healthy. And their top line is scoring. Also, good goaltending is always going to, without a doubt, help them on their run. Now, moving on some more to we'll do this quickly, but I did get a request off of air for this. And people wanted to know, Tommy, and listeners, what your thought is, what our thought is on the race in the East Division. We talked about the North last week, but the East Division, which of course comprises at number 1, I'll go really quickly on this. At number 1, Islanders with 48 points. Number 2, Washington with 46 points. Number 3, Pittsburgh Penguins with 44 points. Boston Bruins with 37 points in 4th place, 3 points ahead of the Rangers, who have really scored a ton of goals and been good, with 34 points. 6th place, the Flyers with 34 points. And the Devils just behind them with 28 points, but they're rapidly pursuing. And then last place are the woeful Buffalo Sabres. But what is your thoughts so far on the East Division? And at the end of the regular season, who do you think comes out on top?
Well, I'm going to start with the East Division.
The East. We're just doing the East Division.
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
The East.
The East Division is very competitive. It's kind of, you know what it reminds me of? Kind of similar to the NFC East in the NFL.
Except it's better.
But this is 9,000 times better than it was, believe me. You see the Islanders, the Capitals, the Penguins, the Bruins, and now we're starting to see the Rangers all being more competitive. Same thing a little bit with the Flyers, although they're struggling a little bit. Same thing with the Devils, and unfortunately got the Sabres that are nowhere near contention. But from looking at these teams, this is going to be a very close division. I'm not going to lie. But who do I believe is going to win the division? It's going to be a tie between Washington and the Islanders. But the question is, who will come on top? What's your thoughts on that? The
answer is who? You got to give me an answer, bro.
All right, fine. But in all seriousness, I'm going with the Islanders on that
one. I agree with the Islanders. I agree with the Capitals as well. I think the Islanders will win the division. This is an extremely deep division. Yes, this division has the worst team in hockey by far, but pretty much everybody else is competitive. Even the Devils are competitive. And I know critics against the Devils will say, yeah, they're only 1 point ahead of Ottawa or tied with Ottawa, but that's a completely different conference, completely different division. In this division, the Devils can.
Now that you mention it, they're actually tied same points of Ottawa, but that's not important right now.
Ottawa's in a complete different conference, a complete different division.
You don't want to do that.
Things are stacked.
No need for that.
Even though the top leader in the East Division has more points than the top leader in the North Division. But the Devils are right there. They're 6 points behind Philly, who has not been good as of late, but the Flyers could surge. You have the Rangers, who've been very good. I have a bigger hot take. I know everybody is really pining against them the last few games, but I don't think the Bruins, the Rangers, or the Devils get that 4th spot. I think the Flyers will come back and get into the playoffs in the 4th seed. I do believe the Flyers can do it, but I think the Islanders. I said I believed in the Islanders as a playoff team, as a cup final team, as a team that can shock people in the playoffs, but I still didn't believe they could be a top dog in the league in the regular season. Well, now we're learning they can be. Now we're learning that that defensive Devil's trap type style still works in the league today, and they've got the 2nd best record in the NHL and in the Eastern Conference. They're only 2 points behind Tampa for the best record, and that's Tampa. So I think the Islanders will win the division. Again, I think it will be Islanders, Capitals, Penguins, Flyers. I think Boston gets booted out as well as New York and New Jersey.
Yeah, originally I said before we did the season, I had the Islanders, Capitals, no specific order, Islanders, Capitals, Bruins, and Flyers, not the Penguins. We didn't even mention the Penguins.
Penguins have been good. Penguins have not been as good defensively as they did in their cup years, but they've been better from the last few years. And Pettersson has looked much better. Matheson hasn't been great. Marino is turning out to be a really great defenseman on that core. But so that's the East Division. All right, so.
But who do I think is going to get the final spot? I think it's still going to be Boston, and I think the Rangers and Flyers will just fall short.
That's short, and I think the Devils will be in that race as well. But let's move on to some more trade deadline stuff as we'll go through. So Patrick Marleau has said, the San Jose Sharks forward, he has said that he would be willing to go to any team, even though he's very old in his career, he'd be willing to go to any team in the National Hockey League to go in and try to win a cup. He probably will still go back to San Jose if he decides to come back and not retire. But Marleau has said that he would be willing to go to trade deadline. So if you're a team, would you be willing to take a guy like Patrick Marleau? And where do you think he goes, if he goes anywhere?
If Patrick Marleau to go to San Jose, I don't think he would be anywhere close near cup contention.
No, you're not listening to me.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying Patrick Marleau has said that he would be okay to leave San Jose to go to a cup contender this year.
Oh, okay, my bad. All right, but in all seriousness,
he did a few years ago with Pittsburgh.
I would say Seattle, but I don't think they're going to count.
No,
I would say Colorado. Who else? Maybe between Colorado and the Islanders is one.
I think the Islanders might be a better fit for him than Colorado. I don't think Colorado.
So too.
I don't know if Colorado really will be shopping trade deadline. I think they may just try to get healthy. They may get like a grind line winner. I really don't think that they're going to.
I would say the same thing for
much, but Islanders make sense. Islanders make sense. Add more grit and experience to a team that basically plays that style, and a guy that can score goals because he has scored goals. In fact, remember the first game in his second stint back to San Jose, he scored in that game immediately. So he knows how to score goals even at this age. I am going to throw out a crazy one that Sharks fans are going to absolutely hate me for. What's another hockey team that Patrick Marleau has had rivalries with intensely in his career that is making a playoff push? I say he goes to Tinseltown. I say he becomes a King.
Wow.
I say he goes to the LA Kings. I think the Kings are going to pull a trade for him late in the trade deadline to help give some experience to an extremely young team that's looking to punch a playoff spot. Right now, they're chasing St. Louis by, I believe, 5 points, and they're sixth in the division, 1 point behind Arizona. They could get a guy like that. I think the Kings, Marleau would fit the Kings very well. So I think that quickly, obviously, because we got to go rapidly. But Taylor Hall, where do you think he would be headed?
Taylor Hall. I got so many ideas, but from looking at it, I would say a tie. I think I got 3 possible destinations. Number 1, Chicago. Number 2, Toronto. Number 3, Islanders.
I think he goes to the Islanders, but I really like that Blackhawks pick. That is interesting.
I like Toronto.
Is a very interesting place that he could end up because they need more experienced forwards. I get that they took Matthias Janmark, but right now they've been winning the last few games against Florida. But Chicago is still in a playoff spot, but they are only 3 points ahead of Columbus. And suddenly Nashville has staked their way back into a spot for the playoffs. And Dallas is slowly behind them. Dallas isn't at that point yet, but they are close. So Chicago, if they can get a bit more offense to kind of break through. I know Nashville has been good and Dallas has been okay, but I really think it's going to be a race in that 4th spot for Chicago and Columbus. And whoever is able to score more goals to win games is going to be the team that ends up in the 4th spot. So I think Chicago would probably get to that anyway. We'll talk about that in
I'm going to go
week.
Quickly before
but the Blackhawks, I think that's a good idea, but I'm saying the Islanders for
the Islanders.
Marleau.
I would say if I'm the Islanders at this point, I would just say stay healthy because with this current core, they can make a really deep playoff run.
Well, that's what I'm saying for the team that I have beating the Islanders in the final. That's I think Colorado. I don't think makes any moves either. I think they just will try to stay healthy because they've been staying healthy and they've been beating bad teams. They've been beating okay teams in a playoff hunt like Arizona. They've been beating very good teams that are not elite like Minnesota, and they've been beating elite cup contenders like Vegas, and they've been doing it all in their division.
Yeah, I'm just not sure if maybe Taylor Hall might be the best fit for the Islanders, honestly, but we'll see what happens.
Taylor Hall, you have players you play with. You play with Andy Green.
That's true. Yeah, he's
Andy
some
Green
players
teammate in New Jersey, right? And Jordan Eberle, they were teammates for a long time in Edmonton. You've got that connection. In fact, I think that would fit really well because I don't know his relationship with Andy Green too well, but I know him and Jordan Eberle are really,
maybe
really
possibly with Lula Marillo,
Well, Lula Marillo didn't draft him because he was drafted by Edmonton.
Him,
but still, Lula Marillo is a guy that he knows his players. He was trying to get Zach Parise last year, who he drafted when he was the Devils general manager. But with this team now, and because Parise hasn't played a lot of minutes, I don't think Parise goes for Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota at this point is not a seller. They're a buyer, if anything else. But anyway, moving on, the Hurricanes are looking to possibly trade one of their goaltenders for more depth. And we're not really going to say who it could go to because, again, we don't have a terrible amount of time. But Reimer, it could be, or Nielkovic, or Peter Mrazek. Mrazek looks to come back. I think Reimer gets dealt. I don't think trading Nielkovic is a good idea because Nielkovic has been a really young, great prospect for them. He played with them in the American Hockey League. He won a Calder Cup there. He's been great all year long. They've got one of the best records in the NHL. If you're to trade a goalie, and I know Reimer's been good, but they're really liking Peter Mrazek so far, and he's close to coming back. Statistically, Mrazek has the worst record out of these three, but I would probably, worst stats, but I'd probably trade Reimer if I was Don Waddell in the Carolina Hurricanes. If you had to trade somebody, I would trade him. The number one player I would not trade is Nielkovic because I think he's a really good goaltender. I think what the Capitals want from Samsonov is what Carolina is getting from Alexander Nielkovic. But, okay.
I think so.
So we can quickly do 3 stars. And then we do NHL predictions, and we'll try to go through the forgotten contenders. This is the 83 Oilers for that. So you go for your 3 stars first, Tommy. Your first 3 stars that you felt were the best this season.
Okay, so
this week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I said this week and not this season. I made it.
Yeah, I meant this. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right. Go ahead.
All right. So my number 3 star of the week. I'm gonna try to think it here for a minute. I'll go with 1 second here. I'm picking someone from Toronto. Actually, no. I'm gonna go with Ovechkin as the number 3.
He's been really good.
Yeah. All right. Number 2. I'm gonna go with Mika Zibanejad because he's been getting back with the hat tricks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And number 1, I'm going with Oliver Wahlstrom.
Oliver Wahlstrom. Okay.
Amazing hockey player, as many people call him.
He has been really good. For number 3 for me, I'm going to go for a rookie that's also been in this list before, in Kevin Lankinen, the rookie goaltender of the Chicago Blackhawks. The young Finn has played great. He has beaten Drager and Bobrovsky back-to-back against the Florida Panthers at home against one of the best offenses in the National Hockey League. He has stoned them, has been an incredible goaltender with the 2 wins that has helped the Chicago Blackhawks in their race and their hunt behind Florida. He is a real good goalie, and I put him at number 3. For my number 2, Mika Zibanejad as well. The goals that he's been able to have this last week, incredible goal scorer in a week that's had hat-trick goalies of 4 goals, like Andrew Kopp did against the Vancouver Canucks. But for me, the number 1 guy it's Mikko Rantanen. Mikko Rantanen for the Colorado Avalanche. He scores at least 2 goals almost every game this past week. He's gotten a ton of assists and a lot of points, getting to the net, scoring from the window, scoring from the circle, getting the puck off the left circle, making a great defensive play. He's been everywhere for the Avalanche. He's kickstarted this great Rocky Mountain Express line they have been flowing on all cylinders. Colorado, there's a reason why they're in the top 5 in the NHL and have one of the best records and are tied for the best record in the Western Conference. There is a reason for that, and one of those prime reasons is Mikko Rantanen. So how about that? We stay Baltic, 2 Finns and a Swede for my top 3 in my 3 stars. So again, number 3, Kevin Lankinen. Number 2, Mika Zibanejad. Number 1, Mikko Rantanen. Okay, so going on to Monday, Tommy. Quick Monday scores. All right, Let's move on. It's the Islanders and the Penguins. And if the Penguins can beat the Islanders in regulation, no matter what happens with the Capitals, the Penguins can take a lead in the division on Monday if they can win in regulation. Pittsburgh or Islanders, who wins from Pittsburgh?
I'll say this one will go to overtime, and it's a tough one right there, honestly. I'm going to go with Penguins, Crosby.
Wow, I don't remember the last time Pittsburgh has won an overtime game against the Islanders at home. They win a bunch in Nassau, but at home it doesn't usually happen. The Islanders usually best them. 4-2, game winner, Josh Bailey. Islanders win.
Okay, and you take the Isles. Okay.
Anaheim in Denver, the worst team in the West against could possibly be the best team in the West. And I think the Ducks' woes continue. 5-0 game winner, Mikko Rantanen.
I'm going with Avalanche, and same thing with you. Okay. 5-0.
Also Rantanen. Vegas and LA. Vegas wins 3-2 in overtime. Jonathan Marchessault with a tip-in goal past Quick. Knights beat the Kings.
I'll go with the Knights. 3-2 regulation. Stone.
Leafs against the Oilers. They are also close to a division lead, Edmonton. And Edmonton will get it. Darnell Nurse, 3-1. Oilers in Toronto.
I'll go with you. Oilers 4-2. McDavid.
Flyers and Sabres. Record gets tied. 5-1. Game winner, Gostisbehere.
You know what? I'm going to go with the biggest upset of the year.
Wow.
I'm taking Buffalo over Philly. And who gets the game winner? I'll go with Taylor Hall. 4-2 regulation. Flames, it's probably not going to happen, but it's just a hot take.
Flames host the Jets in a playoff matchup. I hate to say this, being a Vancouver fan and needing Winnipeg to win, but the Flames will win 3-2 in a shootout. Game winner, Johnny Gaudreau.
Johnny Gaudreau?
Yes.
Yeah, for Calgary.
Yeah, and then the final game I have.
Yeah, I'm going with Calgary as well.
Okay.
Johnny Gaudreau.
The final game I have is Minnesota and San Jose. The Wild win 4-2. Game winner is going to be off of the stick of Zach Parise. How about that? All right, forgotten contenders.
Wait, I didn't do mine yet.
Okay, fine.
Wild 3-1. Same thing. All right, now let's go to
forgotten contenders. Try to go this quickly. Okay, the Oilers 1983 to 84. 1983 to I believe the 82 to 83 Edmonton Oilers, and they had a really good team, but still a very young team. They had to suffer in 1980 the miracle at the Manchester, where they were up 5-0 in one of the games in the series they would win against the LA Kings, and losing that game 6-5 in overtime thanks to the theatrics of Marcel Dion. But the Edmonton Oilers then got this great team, and here is the young team that they put together going into the Stanley Cup Final in that season. Actually, you want to read the stats real quick, Tommy?
Yeah, so our stats for the 1982-83 Oilers season. So they were first in the Smythe Division and first in the Campbell Conference. The record overall was 47-21-12. Their home record was 25-9-6. Road record 22-12-6. They were goals for 424. Goals against were 315. They were led by general manager and head coach Glenn Sather, which many of you may know as Rangers' longtime GM or longtime executive as former GM. And their captain was actually not Wayne Gretzky yet. It was actually Lee Fogelin, and then the following year would be Wayne Gretzky.
Right. As Wayne Gretzky's still a very young player.
Still led with goals and assists and points. 71 goals, 125 assists, and 196 points.
Yes, absolutely. He had been an all-star all year long. He was one of the best players in the National Hockey League, probably still regarded as the best player in the league. This is the young team they had put together. Glenn Anderson, winger John Blum, Laurie Boschman, Paul Coffey, Ray Cote, Lee Fogland, the American captain of the Edmonton Oilers, believe it or not. It's crazy, but it's true. Grant Fuhr, the young goaltender they had, the Edmonton native, Randy Gregg, the superstar Wayne Gretzky, Mark Habshade, Charlie Huddy, Pat Hughes, Dave Hunter, Don Jackson, Jari Curry, their only Finn, Gary Lavier, Willie Lindstrom, their only Swede, Ken Leisman, Ron Lowe, Kevin Lowe, the great defenseman, Dave Lumley, Mark Messier, the young star as well, Lindsay Middlebrook, Andy Moog, goaltender who would later lose to the Edmonton Oilers in the final with Boston, Dan Nashpar, Yaroslav Pushar, Tom Rolston, Dave Semenko, who was the enforcer. And let me just say one quick thing. The Edmonton Oilers, there's always been a myth with Wayne Gretzky that it was the Gretzky rule that you never touched Gretzky because you wanted the game to be great and him to score goals. You never tried to hit him. You never tried to touch him. The Gretzky rule is kind of incorrect. Teams would try to hit Gretzky, but the problem was if you ever hit Gretzky or tried to touch him while he was shooting the puck, Dave Semenko would quite literally rip your head off. He was one of the greatest fighters in National Hockey League history. Dave Struby, yeah, just wanted to put that to rest. No Wayne Gretzky rule. Just touch Gretzky. You're going to just, we've got one of the greatest fighters in the league, and that was the year of enforcers. That was the era. Todd Struby and Gary Younger, that was the end of this team. And, of course, Gretzky had 196 points. Unbelievable for a guy in his third season in the NHL. And any player. Mark Messier also with 106. Glenn Anderson with 104, as well as one of Glenn Anderson's highest scoring years. So now moving on to who they would play. The division semifinals, they played a team that always dominated them in the WHA and was pretty good their first year in the playoffs against the Oilers, even though the Oilers won. But this was really Edmonton's coronation to start domination over the Jets. Winnipeg and Edmonton, they had Bobby Hull at the end of his career. They had Dale Hawerchuk. That's not going to cut it. I get this Oilers team is young, but it's not going to cut it. The Oilers used depth and youth on good experienced hockey players. The Golden Jet could not crack the armor of Grant Fuhr, and this was the Wayne Gretzky show as well, scoring a ton of goals against Winnipeg in the old Jets arena. I want to read them the stats of the series.
Yeah, so we're going to go quickly on this one. Yeah. So Oilers won the series 3-0 against the original Winnipeg Jets.
Yes.
Game 1, 6-3. Game 2, 4-3. And Game 3, 4-3. Same thing.
They move on and play another young team, but far younger than Edmonton in their first year after leaving from Atlanta to the provincial neighbors, the Calgary Flames. This would become an intense rivalry later in the 80s. We've talked about it before, Steve Smith, that whole thing. But it's the first meeting between the Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers in the NHL playoffs, at least with Calgary in Calgary. In fact, they played each other in the WHA playoffs, but Calgary was not the Calgary Flames. They were not in the NHL. They were in Atlanta. But the Oilers scored a ton of goals there against the Flames. Great goaltending by Grant Fuhr. And the Flames didn't have as many depth players that were able to score as many goals as the Oilers could. They really just ran off of the fact that we'll hit a little bit, but they were one of the most prolific scoring teams in the league, and they were going to score all these goals, and they did with a 4-1 series, five-game win over the Calgary Flames. Only one loss in the playoffs so far,
and that was Game 4.
To the Western Conference Final.
Against they go to the conference final against the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yep.
And
they
that
go
was
to the Western
also
Conference Final against Chicago, and Chicago was another team that had somewhat of depth, but they were in the middle of kind of the Blackhawks now, from changing from incredible depth, and they had Ted Lindsay and Bobby Hull before that, and now they had all these young players, and they were in the middle. They weren't sure exactly where they were going, and they were going to the conference final, but a sweep by the Oilers. The Oilers felt that this was their year to win the Stanley Cup. They had the experience a bit more than Chicago did. They had the scoring. They had the best player in the game. They had one of the best goaltenders in the game. And Chicago really had nothing with Eddie Belfour, the rookie, just nothing that they were going to do to Edmonton. And Edmonton goes to the Stanley Cup final where they faced a team that they were young, but this team was as experienced as any. They had gone to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. The New York Islanders, yes. They had gone to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. They had won 3 Stanley Cups against Philadelphia, who had a good team the first year, against Vancouver and against Minnesota, and they were looking for unprecedented 4th Stanley Cup straight, which hadn't been done since the previous decade when the Habs did it. Oilers, they were no match. This is such a young team. The guys that you look at later when they go to other Stanley Cup teams, like Paul Coffey and Glenn Anderson, are second-year guys, rookies at this point. And they're playing against Billy Smith. They're playing against Mike Bossy, playing against Trache, Potvin, Nystrom, Tonelli.
So many guys to think of.
The incredible experience that those teams played still with the 3 straight Stanley Cup wins. And Edmonton, we talked about last week how Edmonton was able to really shock the Islanders and finally get them down and break the drought. Well, the Oilers didn't even win a game. And it was kind of interesting, too, because they had only lost 1 game to this point, and that was in the Calgary series. And they got absolutely swept, and the Cup held on Rexall ice for Edmonton Oilers. It was
actually at the Coliseum.
For some reason I thought they had the better record than the Oilers. But yeah, you're right. The Nassau Coliseum, and the Cup was risen there, and it was kind of 08 Pittsburgh Penguins in the sense against Detroit, in the sense where you had to lose to an extremely experienced team to learn how to win, and that was what Edmonton needed to get to the final and lose. And that's what they did. Obviously, they would have wanted to win. They still would have wanted to win. But it was a really great Oilers team that will be remembered because of what happened the following for the decade. It was a team that did not win the Cup, but built its way to supremacy in the 1980s, not just in hockey, but in sports and in culture. All right,
Islanders goaltender Billy Smith wins the Conn Smythe Trophy.
Billy Smith wins the Conn Smythe for locking down Wayne Gretzky in that offense. But we are done today for Dekes and Dangles. We will see you guys next week for the Forgotten Contenders, the Minnesota North Stars. All right. See you guys next week. Happy hockey.
Happy hockey, everyone. Okay.
Ernst, what did I think the Sabres should do right now? We kind of talked about it, and I think you could kind of listen to us about the head coaching and stuff. There's not really much they can do. We kind of talked about what philosophy they could go last week. All right, guys. On the puck drops here. See you guys tomorrow afternoon for Red Wings and the Columbus Blue Jackets. And Tommy's going to be there as well. No, he's not. But good night, everybody. Happy hockey, everybody. Goodbye. Whatever. Happy hockey, everybody. Tommy, you still there?
All right, Pete.